Alright, so what's up, y'all? Today I'm gonna be reviewing the trades that I took last month in April, just to review my trades, see if I did anything wrong, see where I can improve on. Because the way how we improve is we journal our trades, we look back at those images and see if we can improve. We never improve based on just P&L. So if you don't know who I am, I'm a funded trader with $200,000 in funded capital. So I'm basically just reviewing the trades that I also live traded last month. So this is one of my accounts right here. I only took one trade this month on this account right here. I usually try to copy trade them, but sometimes I can't copy trade because one account may have a certain market, a certain asset, and another account may not have that asset, so I will have to only trade one. So right here we had a Euro USD trade. It was a break even. Let me show you this same trade on my 5%ers account right here. Is this Euro USD. It was it wasn't even a break even. It was a small loss that I ended up cutting. I was risking around $600 on this trade, small risk. And I'm gonna show y'all the actual trade real quick right here. So as you can see right here, my 5%ers account, I have more trades because I could trade crypto. Effexify, I can't trade crypto, so that's why you see more entries right here throughout the month. So it was a total of 4 trades. So we're gonna review all those 4 trades. So in total this month, before we get to it, we lost around like 1,300. Not bad. So let's look in this journal. It was a Euro USD trade. This is my journal right here. Alright, so this is my journal right here. I have both my challenge trades and my funded trades on here. So we're going to be looking at only the funded trades, not the challenge trades. So this one right here was the first one. I said I cut that loss. And the total R, I put it based on R, not the actual amount I'm risking. So because that's how you should think in terms of R. So we took the first trade April 3rd. Alright, so it was Euro USD. If you don't know how I trade differently than most. I don't trade ICT, I don't trade support and resistance. It's just a trend following system. And basically what I see here is when price comes under all the MAs right here, I call that a flush. And usually after the flush in a bullish cycle, when we come under all the MAs, usually we'll notice that there's going to be 4 to 5 breaks of structure before price reflushes and continues that overall cycle if price wants to do a nice bullish trend. So this is the higher time frame. I enter on the 5 minute. I can enter on any time frame based on a few different time frames, but if I'm entering on a 5 minute time frame, I use a 5 hour as my context time frame to establish the context. I use a 30 minute to validate what the higher time frame is saying, and if the 30 minute also looks clear, I'll jump on the 5 minute and look for a clear opportunity. So this is the 5 hour right here. Looks very, very nice. This is the 30 minute. So the 30 minute, I also want to see the same exact thing as the context time frame. So my validation time frame, which is the 30, wants to look exactly like that on 5 hour. So we have that flush where price came under the MAs right here, or it just comes to that 50 right here. So we flush right here, price came up and created the first validation break of structure. So usually these breaks of structure will pause on the 10 EMA or 20 and then continue upwards, and those are what we're gonna, when it comes down to that 10 and 20, that's where I'm going to be looking for my opportunities on the 5 minute for potential entries. So we have 1, 2, and then the third one right here. And remember, I say 4 to 5 before we could look, or before we expect a reflush downwards. This one was not the best entry. I did refine my entries. I won't lie, this was not the best entry right here. So usually what I like to look for now is just a straight move down, a clear move down It's okay if it consolidates down here, but as long as it just moves up and just sets up immediately, I like it. But if it doesn't set up immediately, I don't like it. So basically it came down, it went up, and then it starts to play around here. So this was not the best entry. On top of that, I like to see price pause against the 10 and 20. So I won't lie, this was a bad entry on my part. So I have examples on what I like to look for. The rest of the trades were good for the month, but yeah, I took that trade, and then this is what happened. It went up, and I ended up cutting the loss right here. I ended up just cutting the loss right here, because usually when I take a trade, it's either gonna just go in my direction and come for an instant loss, or it's gonna just go in my favor. It doesn't usually just play around. So yeah, that was the first trade that I took. Let me see. The second trade that I ended up taking was right here. It was a loss. Right here was that Bitcoin trade. So if we go on my 5%ers account, let's see, it was this one right here. So it was a Bitcoin trade right here. Small loss. Let me show y'all that exact image. I think it was right here. Yeah. So this one looked a lot better in terms of what I like to look for. So Bitcoin on the higher time frame, what did we have? We had the flush where price came to that 50. So it came under the MAs to that 50 right here. Then on this 5-hour time frame, we moved up, paused on the 10, which is that black line, and created the first context breaker structure 1, came up, created the second context breaker structure 2. So that's what I saw on the higher time frame. On the 30-minute, this was that consolidation right here. So what I wanted to see was basically the same thing. So we had the recent flush right here where price came to that 50. We came up, price paused against the 10 and 20. At this point, I wouldn't have known this was the first context breaker structure, because the context of the market was moving sideways in this consolidation. But right here was more clear because price had came out more, right? And it paused again against that 10, right? And at this point, I wanted it to just set up once. And if it sets up once and it fails, then there's nothing to look for, because at that point, it will probably come back into the consolidation and keep chopping around. But this was for the expectation for this stage 1 to move into a trending market, because as you know, markets move sideways, then expansion, sideways, then expansion. So this is what it looked like when it paused. So we had a straight move now down to that 50. That's what you're gonna see. And we had a impulse, right, and a pause. A pause is basically a candle that prints before taking out the previous candle's high, as it's rejecting against that 10 right here. So that's what I wanted to see. It's way better than the other trade I took. And you have to admit when your trades are not good, because that's how you improve. So this one was a very good entry that I was happy with. Tag me in, came for an instant loss right here. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's gonna happen. So I found another opportunity the same day right here. So let me show y'all on 5%ers. It was this break-even trade. You can see it's $6.79. I consider that a break-even, because in terms of how much I'm risking $600 per account. So that's $1,200 in total. So yeah, let's go back right here. That break-even trade was right here. So it was on the same day, because I saw another opportunity. So it's basically the same thing. We're still in that great context right here. We moved out of this right here, potentially making a context breaker structure on 3, because that's the 5-hour time frame. On the validation, which is the 30-minute, so this is that flush right here. This is that same area that we was expecting that move out of. I think it ended up still going in our direction. No, did it? Yeah. So we paused right here, creating the validation breaker structure 2, and I was expecting this to be the validation breaker structure 3 because it's pausing on that 10 to continue higher. So this is what happened. Yeah, this is that image right here. This is that actual time where I was waiting for it. So this is the 2. I was expecting 3 to continue higher, right? So we had a nice move downwards, right? And then it just moves up. It pauses as it's rejecting against the 10. So what I don't want to see is price to re-break through that 20. If it re-breaks through that 20, I will cancel the order. So this is what I mean. It pauses nicely against that, and then it tags me in the trade right here. Then when it tagged me into the trade, it ended up being a break even. Went up a little bit, broke even at a 1-to-1, because that was from my same thought process is most of my good trades are just gonna go. They're not gonna come back. So it's just a quick break even right there. Last trade I took for the month was another Bitcoin trade on the 28th. So let me just show y'all right here. It was this last trade. Small loss right here, $335 right here. And let's see. Oh, that's right there. All right, let me show y'all what I was looking at. The 5-hour time frame. We had the context breaker structure 1. I should have took a bigger image of this, I ain't gonna lie. But this is the context breaker structure 1, the context breaker structure 2. You could consider this whole thing the 2 because this one pulled back deep into this one right here. So you could say 2 or 3, or you can consider this both 1, 2. It's just a general understanding of what price action is just doing. This, it looked extremely clean. So we had the flush, price moved under all the MAs. We came up, we paused right here. That's the first one. The first, this is on a validation time frame. So this is the validation breaker structure 1. Came up, paused again. Validation breaker structure 2. So these probably had some great opportunities right here that I was not on the charts at that time for. So right here was when the price had paused right here, I was expecting the breaker structure 3 to continue, right? So this was a clean looking trade. See, it had a nice straight move down, right? There was an opportunity right here that I think it was, I wasn't on the charts or something like that at that time, but you see it moved up, the pause didn't break back through the 20 because that's the last line of defense, and it held. So that buy stop above this high would have been good. But I saw this one right here. There was another opportunity that I took right here. The pause as it's rejecting got me in the trade, and what happened was damn, it didn't show. I didn't take the images. Actually, I think I did take the images. There should be, yeah, I took the images. I didn't add it in. Yeah, there it is. Let me go ahead and add that in. Add that in right now, y'all. Alright, so what happened was, you know, price came up. I had to adjust it a little bit because of spreads and stuff like that. So I adjusted it a little bit. If I didn't have to adjust it, this would have been a break even, but it is what it is. And it ended up being a loss. So that was, I think, so I took 4 trades of the month. 3 of them was losses, 1 of them was break evens. And what you got to understand about trading is it's about following the process of execution. Execution over time is going to lead to money being made, especially if you don't have a higher win rate, right? My edge just lies with catching potential runners. It doesn't mean I'm sitting here trying to get a 1 to 6 or a 1 to 5 all the time. I have rules to manage, and those rules, like an example right here was this challenge trade that I took that helped me pass one of my challenges right here on Euro USD. This is an example of that. Sometimes I'm gonna take a loss, sometimes I'm gonna take a win, sometimes I'm gonna take a break even. But look, straight move down, we had to move up, pause in right here, got me in, and my management is just simple. I just hold the trade until price breaks the 10 EMA, and you see how powerful that is when it does end up working. So yeah, So if you want to just watch me trade and just watch the process to see what type of patience it takes to actually be a trader, definitely show up on my lives. I usually live stream New York session. I'll probably be around like 8:30, and then I end it around 12 o'clock. So definitely join up the lives, see what I'm talking about. Just follow along, and yeah.